Don't take this flight. That's what I'm reading sitting in the airport lounge while my husband Richard talks on the phone. The words are written in red ink on a napkin that a flight attendant I've never seen before just dropped on my lap. My heart pounds as our eyes meet. She whispers, "Trust me. Don't take this flight. Don't go with him." An hour from now, I'll have to choose between believing a total stranger or the man I swore to love until death do us part. But before we continue, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and write in the comments, where are you watching this video from? We love to know how far our stories are traveling. Chicago O'Hare International Airport is packed this Friday morning. I'm waiting patiently in the VIP lounge, my head resting on my Louis Vuitton bag, a gift from Richard on our last wedding anniversary, 5 years together. And according to him, this trip to Miami is all about reconnecting. And what I don't expect is that someone is planning to disconnect me from this world permanently. Richard walks over with 2 coffees. His blue eyes, usually so warm, seem distant. In the last few months, I've noticed subtle changes in his behavior. Calls answered in other rooms, messages quickly deleted when I get close, a different perfume that I occasionally smell on his shirt. I chalked it all up to stress. The merger at his company is consuming all his time. "Everything okay, Allison?" he asks. "You look pale." He hands me the coffee. "Just a little tired," I reply, avoiding his gaze. The napkin is burning a hole in my pocket. My fingers are trembling around the cup. I need to get to the bathroom. I need a moment alone to understand what is happening. "I'm just going to use the restroom quickly," I say, forcing a casual smile. Richard nods, already completely absorbed in his phone. There it is again, that furtive look, like he's afraid I might see the screen. In the bathroom, I lock myself in a stall. Breathing hard, I pull the napkin from my pocket. I open it carefully. There's more written inside. "Your name is on a $5 million life insurance policy, taken out 2 weeks ago. You are going to fall from the hotel balcony. He has a mistress. Find me in the main food court in 10 minutes. I have proof. My name is Jenna." My stomach turns. The nausea is instant. It can't be true. Richard planning to kill me. I want to laugh at how absurd it all sounds, but something inside me freezes. The small changes, the secrets, the sudden trips. And why was he so insistent on this Miami trip when I suggested we postpone it? I splash water on my face, looking at my reflection in the mirror. Who is this terrified woman? I need to pull myself together. This could be a sick joke, or someone trying to blackmail us. But what if it's not? I walk slowly out of the bathroom, watching Richard from a distance. He's talking on the phone again, his voice low, his body turned away from everyone. His gestures are tense. Instead of going back to our seats, I walk to the food court. My heart is beating so loud I can hear the pulse in my ears. I look around, searching for the flight attendant. There she is, at a table in the corner. She's not in her airline uniform, but I recognize her face. Our eyes meet and she gives me a discreet nod to come over. "Mrs. Allison," she says as I sit down. "I'm Jenna. I used to work the same flight route your husband takes to Houston. How do you know my name? What is going on?" I whisper. She looks around nervously before opening a folder with documents. "Your husband and I, we had a relationship," she says, avoiding my eyes. "It lasted 6 months. It ended when he met Isabella, his new business partner." The floor seems to drop out from under me. I feel dizzy, grabbing the edge of the table to stay steady. "I'm not here to cause problems in your marriage," Jenna continues. "I'm here because I overheard things that terrified me." She slides a piece of paper across the table. "This is a copy of the insurance policy, $5 million, with him as the sole beneficiary, taken out 2 weeks ago." I look at the document, recognizing Richard's signature. My throat closes up. "And this she says, handing me her phone, "is a recording of a conversation I overheard between him and Isabella. I was at his apartment when they arrived. They didn't see me." I press play with trembling fingers. Richard's voice fills my ears, talking about the perfect accident and how no one would suspect anything after so many happy posts on social media. Isabella laughs, asking what they'll do with the money afterward. Richard mentions a house in Barcelona. Hot tears stream down my face as the audio plays. It's really his voice, my husband, the man I thought I knew, coldly discussing how to get rid of me. "Our flight leaves in 40 minutes, I say, my voice barely audible. "What do I do?" Jenna puts her hand on mine. "You can't go with him. Maybe it's better to fake being sick. Anything to stop the trip." Just then, I see Richard walking through the main terminal, looking around, probably searching for me. Our eyes meet for a second, and I see his face change. The mask drops. Surprise, irritation, and something cold I had never noticed before. "He's coming this way," I whisper terrified. What do I do now? Jenna squeezes my hand. Be strong. Pretend you're sick. Whatever it takes. Do not get on that plane. Richard is approaching quickly, his face now composed into an expression of concern. It looks so genuine that for a moment I doubt everything I just found out. Allison, I've been looking for you. We're going to be late, he says, looking curiously at Jenna. Who's your friend? I take a deep breath. The next few minutes will decide if I live or die. The human mind is amazing in a crisis. As Richard waits for my answer, a cold calm washes over me, a clarity I've never experienced before. Richard, this is Jenna. We met in the coffee line, I reply, forcing a smile. I was feeling a little dizzy, and she kindly offered me a place to sit. Jenna nods her face a mask of polite indifference. The anguished woman who showed me proof of my own death sentence minutes ago is gone. Nice to meet you, Richard says, extending a hand which Jenna shakes briefly. His eyes scan Jenna, trying to determine if she's a threat. Apparently satisfied, he turns his attention back to me. Dizzy, are you okay to travel? He asks, his concerned tone now sounding like the cruelest lie. I put my hand on my stomach, faking discomfort. Actually, I feel worse. I think it was something I ate for breakfast. Honey, I'm sure it'll pass, Richard insists, putting his hand on my back. His touch, once comforting, now makes my skin crawl. It's probably just flight anxiety. Once we're in the air, you'll feel better. I sense the firmness behind his kind words. He isn't going to accept canceling this trip easily. The plan is in motion. I don't know, Richard. I really feel sick, I moan, bending over slightly. I think I need to see a doctor. There's a doctor at the hotel if you need one, he replies, a slight edge of irritation in his voice. Come on, the flight is in final boarding. I look desperately at Jenna, who stays quiet, but her eyes are sending me messages of encouragement. I'm not going to make it, I say, standing up abruptly. I'm sorry, I'm going to, and then, in an Oscar-worthy performance, I let my body collapse onto the floor of the food court. My fall has the desired effect. People turn to look. Employees run toward me. Richard, caught by surprise, doesn't have time to catch me. She fainted. Call for help, someone shouts. I keep my eyes closed as I feel hands helping me, worried voices all around. Richard is yelling my name, his voice a mix of shock and frustration. Mrs. Allison, can you hear me? A new voice, probably one of the airport paramedics. I open my eyes slowly, faking disorientation. What happened? You fainted, ma'am. We're taking you to the airport infirmary for an evaluation. Richard is by my side, holding my hand too tightly. I don't think that's necessary. She just needs water and sugar, he tries to argue. Sorry, sir, but it's standard procedure. We can't clear a passenger who fainted to board a flight without a medical evaluation. I see the muscle in Richard's jaw twitch, a sign of contained anger I know well. He's losing control of the situation. Richard, I murmur, playing the fragile wife. I don't think I can travel today. We'll figure this out, honey, he replies, his tone forced and smooth. Let the doctors check you first. In the infirmary, after a basic exam, the doctor on duty is firm. Ma'am, your blood pressure is unstable. I do not recommend flying today. I suggest you see your cardiologist as soon as possible. Richard's expression is a contained storm. While the doctor writes on a clipboard, he leans in and whispers in my ear, This is ridiculous, Allison. You were fine an hour ago. I'm sorry, Richard. I can't control when I feel sick, I answer, keeping my voice low and weak. Are you traveling with her? The doctor asks Richard. I'm her husband, he replies curtly. Well, sir, your wife is in no condition to fly today. I suggest you reschedule your trip. I watch Richard's plan crumble before his eyes. He runs his hand through his hair. Another gesture of frustration I recognize. Right, I'll take care of it, he says, stepping out of the room to make calls. The moment he leaves, I grab my phone. My hands are shaking so badly I almost drop it. I quickly open my banking apps. I need to see how much I have available in case I need to run. I quickly transfer the maximum amount I can to a secondary account Richard doesn't know about. It's not much, but it might buy me a few days. When Richard comes back, his face is composed again. I managed to reschedule for Sunday, he announces. 2 days of rest and you'll be good as new. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. I nod weakly. 2 days. I have 2 days. 2 days to plan my escape, gather evidence, and decide how I'm going to confront the man who swore to love me, but is now planning my end. In the taxi on the way home, Richard is silent, typing furiously on his phone, probably updating Isabella about the change of plans, I think bitterly. The city blurs past the window. People go about their normal lives while mine is falling apart. Do you think it's serious? He finally asks without looking up from the screen. I don't know. I hope not, I reply, watching him closely. Is this genuine concern, or is he just calculating if my health problem will ruin his plans? We arrive at our apartment in Lincoln Park. The luxury condo that used to feel safe now seems like a golden prison. The walls that witnessed our love now hide a deadly secret. Richard opens the door and walks in first, dropping the suitcases in the entryway. "I'll make you some tea," he says, walking to the kitchen. I stand there watching the man who has become a stranger. How many times has he planned my death while serving me tea? How many nights have we slept side by side while he dreamed about my insurance money? My phone buzzes. A message from an unknown number. "It's Jenna. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m., Woodfield Mall, food court. I have more information. Be careful." I delete the message immediately. Richard returns with a steaming mug. "Chamomile. It will calm you." I look at the golden liquid. Is it just tea or... No, he wouldn't risk anything at home. The plan was the fall from the hotel balcony, a tragic accident, far away from the prying eyes of neighbors. "Thanks," I say, but I don't drink it. I put the mug on the table. "I think I'm going to rest for a bit." "Good idea," he replies, grabbing his jacket. "I need to take care of a few things at the office since we didn't travel. I shouldn't be long. Probably going to meet Isabella, I think." As soon as the door closes, I run to Richard's office. I need more proof. I need to understand the extent of this plan. His laptop is on the desk, but it's locked with a password. I try a few obvious combinations. Our anniversary, his birthday, no luck. Frustrated, I start searching the drawers. In the back of one, I find a folder hidden behind old documents. My heart nearly stops when I open it. There it is, the complete insurance policy, a purchase agreement for a house in Barcelona, Spain, and the thing that makes my blood run cold. A detailed study on fatal accidents on hotel balconies printed from the internet, with handwritten notes in the margins. It's real. All of it is real. The night seems endless. Locked in our bedroom, I pretend to be asleep when Richard gets home. The smell of women's perfume clings to his shirt when he lies down next to me. I stay perfectly still, controlling my breathing while he checks messages on his phone. Minutes later, his soft snoring tells me he's asleep. I slide out of bed without making a sound. I grab my phone and lock myself in the bathroom. With trembling hands, I open my email and send photos of the documents I found to myself. I need a backup, something in the cloud, out of his reach. Then I send a message to Jenna. I found more proof, the full policy and plans for a house in Barcelona. The reply comes almost instantly. "Great, bring everything tomorrow. You'll need it for the police." Police. The word echoes in my mind. Reporting my own husband for attempted murder. How did we get to this point? I remember our wedding 3 years ago, in the chapel by the sea. Richard crying when he saw me at the altar. Was it all a lie, or did he change along the way? Seduced by money and another woman, I get back in bed, staying on the very edge, as far away from him as possible. The man breathing peacefully next to me is no longer my husband. He is my potential killer. I wake with a jolt at 6 in the morning. I don't remember falling asleep. Richard is still sleeping soundly. I get up quietly and go to the kitchen to make coffee. I need to maintain normalcy, not raise any suspicions. As the water heats up, I look out the window of our 20th floor apartment. The view of Lincoln Park is stunning. The city stretches to the horizon, the lake in the distance, a view many would pay millions for. Richard would pay with my life. "You're up early." His voice makes me jump. He's standing in the kitchen doorway, hair, messy, eyes, watchful. "I couldn't sleep well," I reply, pouring coffee into 2 mugs. "How are you feeling today?" he asks, accepting the mug I offer. "Better," I lie. "I think it was just exhaustion." "That's great. I'll reschedule our flight for tomorrow then." "No," I exclaim too loudly. He raises an eyebrow, surprised. I continue more calmly. "Let's wait until Monday. I want to check with my doctor first, just to be sure." Richard studies me for a moment as if trying to figure out if I'm hiding something. "Whatever you want," he finally replies. "But we can't postpone it too long. The hotel is non-refundable and we've already paid for 2 expensive days." "I understand," I say, taking a sip of coffee to hide my nerves. "I promise I'll decide by tomorrow." He nods, seemingly satisfied. "I have a 9 o'clock meeting today. Unexpected stuff from the canceled trip." Perfect. This gives me time to meet Jenna without having to make up excuses. Richard leaves at 8:30 after a quick kiss on my forehead. A kiss that used to mean affection, and now just fills me with disgust. As soon as I hear the door close, I run to shower and get dressed. I choose discreet clothes. Jeans, a black t-shirt, and a baseball cap to partially hide my face. I put the folder with the documents in my bag and hurry out. In the elevator, I run into our neighbor, Ms. Peterson. "Allison, I thought you and Richard were traveling." "I had a last-minute health issue," I explain quickly. "Oh, what a shame," she comments. Richard seemed so excited about this trip. He was talking about it in the elevator yesterday. Said it would be unforgettable. Unforgettable. A shiver runs down my spine. I get to Woodfield Mall 20 minutes early. I pick a table in the food court with a view of all the entrances, where I can watch if Richard or anyone suspicious shows up. Jenna arrives promptly at 10. She's wearing jeans and a simple blouse, her hair in a ponytail. She looks like an ordinary person, not someone involved in a murder plot. "You came," she says, sitting across from me. "Did you bring the documents?" I slide the folder across the table. Jenna opens it quickly, scanning the contents. "This is even worse than I imagined," she mutters. "This man is meticulous. I can't believe this is happening," I say, my voice breaking. "Why would he do this? We have enough money." $5 million is never enough for people like him and Isabella, Jenna answers bitterly. "Besides, there's the practical side. A divorce would be messy, splitting assets. Your death solves everything at once." I swallow hard, feeling sick. "What do I do now? Do I go to the police?" Jenna bites her lip, thinking. "Technically, he hasn't tried anything yet. We have circumstantial evidence, the policy, the plans for Barcelona, the search history. It's compelling for us, but a good lawyer would tear it all apart. So I'm just trapped, waiting for him to try and kill me so I can get better proof." "Not necessarily." Jenna hesitates. "I have a friend, Michael, ex-cop, now a private investigator. He can help us build a stronger case." "How?" "We can get Richard on tape. Get him to talk about the plan somehow." The idea of confronting Richard terrifies me. But what choice do I have? "Can I trust you, Jenna?" I ask suddenly. "How do I know you're not manipulating me for some reason I don't know?" Her eyes meet mine, firm and direct. "Because I've been in your shoes, Allison. Not with Richard, but with another man. Nobody believed me until it was too late. I don't want the same thing to happen to you." Something in the intensity of her gaze convinces me. "When can I meet this Michael?" "This afternoon, 3 p.m., my apartment." She writes the address on a piece of paper. "Come alone and make sure you're not followed." Just then my phone buzzes. A message from Richard. "Meeting ended early. I'm heading home. We need to talk." My blood runs cold. "He's coming home. Now. Go," Jenna says urgently. "Act normal. I'll see you at 3. I run out of the mall, nearly tripping on the escalator. I get a taxi immediately and tell the driver to hurry. The whole ride my mind is racing. What if Richard discovered my suspicions? What if someone saw us at the mall? What if... The taxi drops me at the entrance to my building 5 minutes before Richard arrives. I race to the elevator, my legs shaking. When I get into the apartment, I run to the bathroom and splash my face with water, trying to calm my breathing. I hear the key in the door. I'm in the kitchen pouring a random glass of juice to look busy. Richard walks in smiling, a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. "Hi, honey. Miss me?" That smile. There's something different about it, something calculated that I never noticed in 5 years. But now it stands out like a spotlight. How could I have been so blind? "Of course," I reply, forcing a smile back as I offer him the juice. "Was the meeting productive?" Richard throws his briefcase on the sofa and loosens his tie. "More or less. Isabella thinks we should postpone the merger, but I don't agree." Isabella. Hearing him say her name so casually makes me sick. The woman he plans to spend my insurance money with after I accidentally fall from a balcony. "You seem tense, Allison," Richard comments, walking closer. His fingers touch my face in a caress that used to comfort me, and now just makes me recoil. "Still not feeling well. I'm just worried about these dizzy spells." I lie. "I made an appointment with Dr. Armstrong for Monday." "Monday," he frowns. "I thought we were rescheduling the trip for Sunday." "I think it's better to wait for the results." I insist, pulling away subtly. "I don't want to feel sick again during the trip." I see frustration flash across his face, quickly replaced by an understanding expression. Richard was always good at hiding his emotions. How many lies had he told me with that same sincere face? "Of course, your health comes first." He agrees, picking up his phone. "I'll call the hotel and see if we can reschedule for next week." While he's on the phone, I turn to the sink, pretending to wash dishes. My mind is working a mile a minute. I need to get out of here. To meet Jenna and Michael. I need a plan. "Rescheduled for next Friday," Richard announces, ending the call. "Perfect for after your appointment." 7 more days. 7 days to gather enough evidence or find a permanent way out of this. "Thanks for understanding," I say, trying to sound natural. "I'm going to rest for a bit. I still feel weak." "Go ahead. I have some emails to answer." I walk to the bedroom and close the door, lying down on the bed. The clock reads 12:30 p.m. I still have 2.5 hours until the meeting. How will I get out without raising suspicion? My phone buzzes. A message from my friend Jessica. "Hey, are you better? Heard you felt sick at the airport. Want some company?" Jessica, my salvation. I reply quickly. "Much better, thanks. I'd love to grab coffee today. Can you do 2:30? The reply comes in seconds. Sure, your place? No, let's meet at the cafe by the big bookstore. I need to buy a book anyway. Perfect. I breathe a sigh of relief. Now I have a legitimate excuse to leave. I rest for about an hour pretending to be asleep when Richard opens the door to check on me. Then I get up and take a long shower. I choose casual clothes, jeans, t-shirt, sneakers, nothing to suggest a secret meeting with my husband's ex-mistress and a PI. At 2:15 I leave the bedroom. Richard is in the office, the door cracked open. I knock lightly. Richard, I'm going to meet Jessica for coffee. She heard I was sick and is worried. He looks up from his computer screen evaluating me. Are you sure you're up for going out? I thought you were resting. I'm better now, and Jessica always cheers me up. He nods slowly. All right, don't be too long. I was thinking of ordering that pizza you like for dinner. Perfect. I smile, ignoring the pang of pain at the thought this might be our last normal dinner. I'll be back before 6. I leave quickly before he can ask any more questions. In the elevator, I send Jessica a message confirming our meeting, and then one to Jenna. On my way. I take a taxi and ask the driver to drop me 2 blocks before Jenna's address. I walk the rest of the way, constantly looking over my shoulder, paranoid about being followed. The apartment is in a discreet building in Wicker Park. I ring the bell, my heart pounding. Jenna opens the door. Behind her, a middle-aged man with graying hair and a posture that screams military training watches me intently. Get in quick, Jenna says, checking the empty hallway before closing the door. Allison, this is Michael. Michael extends his hand. His grip is firm, confident. Mrs. Allison, Jenna explained your situation. I'm very sorry you're going through this. Thanks for helping me, I reply, still unsure about trusting complete strangers. What can we do? Please sit down. Michael gestures to the sofa. I analyze the documents Jenna showed me. The situation is serious, but we need to be strategic. I sit, my hands trembling slightly. What do you suggest? Michael opens a laptop. First, we document everything we have. The insurance policy, the documents for the Barcelona house, the searches on balcony accidents. It's strong circumstantial evidence, but not conclusive. He looks at me directly. We need a confession. How do we get that? I ask. By recording a conversation where he reveals his intentions. Michael holds up a small device the size of a button. This is a high-sensitivity microphone. We can hide it in your clothes. I swallow hard. You want me to confront Richard? To accuse him? Not directly. Jenna steps in. That would be too dangerous. We need to be more subtle. Michael nods. Exactly. I suggest an indirect approach. The trip being rescheduled for next week is perfect. You can mention that you spoke to the insurance agent about some details of the policy. Say you found it unusual to increase the value so much in such a short time. We'll observe how he reacts, Michael continues. If he gets defensive or tries to explain, keep probing. Ask about plans for after the trip. Casually mention Barcelona as a destination you two could visit one day. The idea of putting myself at risk like that is terrifying, but I understand the logic. What if he just denies everything? Denial is also a revealing reaction, Michael explains, especially if he gets nervous or irritated. His tone of voice, body language. It all counts. Jenna sits next to me. Allison, we know it's scary, but it's safer to get proof while he still thinks you don't suspect anything. And what about Isabella? I ask. She's involved too. One thing at a time, Michael replies. Once we have evidence against Richard, we can focus on her. She'll probably try to save her own skin and incriminate him even more. I'm silent for a moment, weighing the options. I think about the man I loved for 5 years, the promises we made, the memories we built. How did we get to this point? Is there another option? I finally ask. You can report him now, Michael says honestly. But with the current evidence, the police will probably just ask some initial questions. He'll deny everything, hire a good lawyer, and the investigation could drag on. And in the meantime, he'll know you found him out. And he stops, not wanting to complete the obvious thought. He might try something more direct. I finish, feeling a chill. Michael nods gravely. Unfortunately, yes. Jenna squeezes my hand. We're here to help Allison. You're not alone. I take a deep breath. Okay, let's do it. But how do I guarantee my safety? While we try to gather more proof, I have to go back home. Sleep next to him. That's crucial, Michael agrees. From now on, some basic rules. Don't eat or drink anything he offers you directly. Keep your phone with you at all times. Avoid situations where you're alone in dangerous places, like balconies or stairs. He picks up another device. This is a panic button. Press it for 3 seconds in case of emergency. It's connected to my phone. I'll be there in 15 minutes no matter the time. I accept the small device, a mix of gratitude and fear washing over me. And there's one more thing, Michael says, hesitating briefly. We need to consider the worst-case scenario. If Richard suspects, he might try to speed up the plan. What do you mean? We need to have an escape plan ready. A place you can stay that he doesn't know about. Enough money for a few weeks. Essential documents. The reality of my situation hits me like a ton of bricks. I might have to abandon my home, my life, everything I know, just to survive. I'll take care of that today, I reply firmly. Jenna opens a drawer and takes out a small box. Here's the microphone. Put it on a piece of clothing you'll wear tonight, under the collar of a blouse, for example. The battery lasts 72 hours. What about the files I took from the office? He might notice they're missing. You photographed everything, right? Michael asks. Then we can put them back. It's better if he doesn't realize you found them. I look at the clock. 4:30 p.m. I need to get back soon. When do we meet again? Tomorrow, same time, Jenna replies. We'll bring the equipment to record the main conversation about the trip. Before I leave, Michael gives me one more piece of advice. Allison, the most important thing now is to act natural. Any drastic change in your behavior could alert him. Try to keep your routine, as hard as it is. I nod, knowing it will be the hardest role of my life. On the way back, I meet Jessica at the bookstore as planned. I buy a random book to support my story, and we chat for a few minutes. She notices I'm on edge, but blames it on my recent illness. I get home at 5:45 p.m., carrying the new book and the crushing weight of my secret. The microphone is hidden in the collar of the blouse I'll wear to dinner. Richard is on the sofa, casually watching TV. Hey, honey, how is Jessica? Good, I reply, trying to sound normal. Did you order the pizza yet? Not yet, I was waiting for you. I put my bag in the bedroom, discreetly stashing the panic button in my nightstand drawer. Then I go to the bathroom and change my blouse, making sure the microphone is well hidden. When I get back to the living room, I find Richard opening a bottle of wine. I thought we should celebrate, he says, pouring 2 glasses. Celebrate what? I ask, my heart speeding up. He smiles, handing me a glass. Our time together. We've been so busy lately. We barely talk. I accept the glass, but I don't drink. You're right. We have been distant. Then a toast. He raises his glass. To us. I fake a small sip, watching him over the rim of the glass. Is the wine tainted? Or am I just being paranoid? I'll order the pizza, he says, grabbing his phone. I take the opportunity to discreetly pour some of my wine into the potted plant next to the sofa. During dinner, I try to act normal. We talk about trivial things. The new book I bought, a movie we want to see, plans for the weekend. You seem distant, Richard comments suddenly. Are you sure you're okay? Just tired, I reply, and worried about this sudden illness. Richard studies me for a moment. I've been thinking, what if it's not just stress? What if it's something more permanent? Like what? He smiles, taking my hand. Wouldn't it be wonderful if it was a baby? The piece of pizza stops halfway to my mouth. A baby. He's suggesting I'm pregnant, while planning to kill me. Does this man's cruelty have no limits? I don't think it's that, I reply, trying to control my voice. My cycle is normal. You never know, he insists, stroking my hand. We could get a test tomorrow. I nod vaguely, unable to continue this sick conversation. After dinner, Richard suggests we watch a movie. We sit on the sofa, his arm around me. Every touch makes my skin crawl, but I force myself not to pull away. This movie has an amazing scene, Richard comments casually as we watch a thriller. A fall from a tall building. The director shot it from an angle that really makes you feel the vertigo. My blood runs cold. Is this an innocent comment, or is he testing me? I don't really like scenes like that, I reply. They make me feel sick. Richard laughs softly. Vertigo is a strange thing, isn't it? Just one moment of imbalance, and it's all over. The microphone on my blouse is catching every word, every veiled insinuation. Later in bed, I pretend to be asleep while Richard showers. I hear the water running, then the sound of him checking his phone, probably messages for Isabella. When he finally gets in bed and falls asleep, I let myself cry silently. Tears stream down my face as I stare at the ceiling, thinking about how my life turned into a nightmare in less than 24 hours. A stranger is sleeping next to me. A man planning my death while talking about babies and toasting to our future. Sunday morning is gray, matching my mood. I wake up before Richard, watching him sleep. He looks so normal, so peaceful. How can someone hide so much darkness behind such an ordinary face? I get up quietly and go to the kitchen. As I make coffee, I think about everything that has changed. Yesterday morning, I was still living in ignorance, believing I had a solid marriage. Now every minute is an exhausting performance, a deadly game. Richard appears in the kitchen, hair tousled, a sleepy smile. Good morning, love. He comes up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist. I suppress the urge to pull away. Sleep well. I ask, pouring coffee into 2 mugs. Like a rock, he replies, taking his mug. And you seemed restless. I had some nightmares, I admit. A partial truth, nothing important. He studies me for a moment. Want to go out today? Maybe lunch in the city? It might cheer you up. Sure, I agree, even though the idea of spending hours faking normalcy sounds like torture. Let me finish my coffee first. While Richard showers, I check my phone. A message from Jenna. Mike worked perfectly. Michael analyzed the recording. Come at 3 p.m. today. I breathe a sigh of relief. At least something is going right. Lunch at the restaurant by the park is surreal. The food is delicious. The breeze is nice. Other couples around us seem genuinely happy. Richard is charming, attentive, making jokes that would have made me laugh in another context. It's like we've gone back in time, to the days before I knew his true nature. What are you thinking about? He asks, noticing my silence. About the trip, I reply, testing the waters. Do you think the hotel in Miami will be comfortable? It's one of the best, he says a little too enthusiastically. Ocean view, private balcony in every room. You'll love it. Private balcony. The words send a shiver down my spine. Sounds perfect, I comment, taking a sip of water. By the way, I got a call from the insurance company yesterday. Richard freezes momentarily, his fork halfway to his mouth. Really? What about just confirming some details on our policy? I continue casually. I found it strange, actually. I didn't know we had increased the coverage value so much recently. His eyes narrow almost imperceptibly. It's routine, Allison. We need to update it regularly as our assets grow. $5 million just seems like a lot, I press. The agent even commented it's unusual for such a sudden increase. Richard puts down his silverware, a tense smile on his face. Since when are you interested in insurance details? You always left that to me. I was just curious. I shrug. Especially since only my name is listed as insured. Yours wasn't updated. His hands clench into fists for a second. Then they relax. A bureaucratic issue. I already asked them to update my side too. A lie. He has no intention of being insured himself. I see, I reply, deciding not to push any further for now. How about dessert? The rest of lunch is filled with superficial conversation. Richard seems normal to anyone who doesn't know him, but I notice his tension. The slightly clenched jaw, the frequent glances at his watch, his fingers tapping on the table. We get home around 2 p.m. I need to find another excuse to leave and meet Jenna and Michael. Richard, I forgot to buy the medicine the doctor prescribed for the dizziness. I say, putting my purse away. I'm going to run to the pharmacy. Want me to go? He offers a little too quickly. No need. I'll use it as a chance to stretch my legs. The weather is nice. He nods. Okay, don't be long. I was thinking we could watch that movie you wanted to see. I'll be right back. I promise, grabbing my bag again. In the elevator, I breathe a sigh of relief. Every minute away from him is a relief. I leave the building and walk a few blocks before grabbing a taxi to Jenna's apartment. Michael is already there when I arrive, analyzing recordings on the laptop. How did it go? Jenna asks, leading me to the sofa. Tense, I reply honestly. I brought up the insurance at lunch. He got visibly uncomfortable. Michael nods, satisfied. We heard. The mic captured everything perfectly. He turns the laptop so I can see. Here's the voice analysis. These lines show the stress level when you mention the insurance. It's crystal clear. I look at the graph, seeing obvious spikes when I mention the company and the policy amount. Is this enough? I ask, hopeful. Not yet, Michael answers honestly. But we're building the case. He showed he knew about the policy and got defensive when questioned. It's a start. Jenna hands me another device smaller than the last one. This is a more sensitive microphone for tonight. And also, she hesitates, exchanging a look with Michael. We think you should install a camera in the bedroom. A camera, Michael explains. It's a security measure. If he tries anything while you're sleeping, we'll have proof. And if you decide to confront him, we'll have a visual record. The idea of being filmed in my own bedroom, even for my safety, feels invasive. But I understand the need. Where would I put it? It's discreet. Michael assures me, showing me a tiny camera the size of a shirt button. It can go on the picture frame or on the bookshelf. The angle just needs to capture the bed and the entrance to the room. I reluctantly agree. And what about the conversation about the trip? How should I approach it? Tonight would be ideal, Michael suggests. When you're both relaxed, maybe watching TV, mention you're excited about the trip, that the view from the balcony must be incredible. See how he reacts. And if possible, Jenna adds, ask about plans. If he's thought about changes, maybe living somewhere else. See if he mentions Barcelona. Michael hands me a small memory device. The camera will record to this. You just have to plug it in discreetly. The battery lasts 48 hours. I look at the devices in my hands. tools to incriminate the man I shared my life with. A wave of sadness washes over me. I know this is hard, Jenna says softly, noticing my expression. But remember what's at stake. What if he finds me out? I ask, verbalizing my biggest fear. What if he realizes what we're doing? Michael leans forward, his eyes serious. That's why we prepared a plan B. If at any point you feel threatened, use the panic button and have a bag ready with the essentials. Documents, money, some clothes, hidden where he can't find it. I have a friend who can take me in. I comment, thinking of Jessica. She doesn't know anything yet, but she would trust me if I asked for help. Perfect. Don't tell her the details yet, but have the address ready. Michael agrees. Now, let's review what you're going to ask tonight. We spend the next hour crafting seemingly innocent questions that could incriminate Richard. When I leave Jenna's apartment, I feel like a spy in training, terrified but determined. On the way back, I stop at the pharmacy to back up my story and buy some random motion sickness pills. I also stop at a department store and buy a small carry-on bag. Not for Miami, but for my possible escape. When I get home, Richard is on the sofa watching a football game. He seems perfectly normal, carefree. Did I imagine all of it? Is it possible Jenna is manipulating me for some dark reason? No, the proof is real. The documents, the recordings, everything confirms my suspicions. You were gone a while, he comments, not taking his eyes off the TV. Find the medicine. Yes, I show him the pharmacy bag, and I took the opportunity to buy a new bag for the trip. My old one was worn out. This gets his attention. So you're excited to go? I force a smile. Of course. After the doctor's appointment tomorrow, I'm sure I'll be cleared to travel. Richard smiles, looking genuinely happy. Or is he just an excellent actor? I'm going to put my things away, I say, getting up. In the bedroom, I discreetly position the camera on the bookshelf, among some books with a clear view of the bed and the door. I put the microphone on a clean blouse and mentally prepare myself for the most important night of my life, a night that could either save me or condemn me. The evening unfolds with agonizing slowness. Every minute seems to stretch as I wait for the right moment to start the conversation that could incriminate Richard. After dinner, which I can barely eat, we sit on the sofa to watch the movie he picked out. Ironically, it's a thriller about betrayal. Richard seems relaxed, his arm casually draped over my shoulder. His thumb rubs small circles on my arm, a gesture that used to comfort me and now makes my skin crawl. The microphone hidden in my collar is recording every sound, every breath. This movie makes me think about our trip, I comment when a scene shows a couple in a luxury hotel. Richard smiles, his eyes still on the TV. Why, the hotel looks like the one we booked. That ocean view. I pause briefly, especially the balcony. It must be beautiful. I feel his body tense slightly next to me. Yeah, the balcony is impressive. It's on the 15th floor. Panoramic view. That high? I ask, keeping my voice casual. I'm not afraid of heights, but I admit balconies make me a little nervous, especially after that news story about the woman who accidentally fell in Houston. Richard shifts, adjusting himself on the sofa. Is he uncomfortable with this topic? Good. You've never mentioned a fear of heights before, he says, a slight irritation in his voice. Don't worry, the balconies are safe, high railings. But accidents happen, right? I was just reading about it. How people can slip or… Allison, he interrupts, his tone firmer. Why this sudden interest in balcony accidents? Are you having a bad feeling about the trip? This is my signal. Time to push a little more. Not exactly, I reply, faking innocence. I've just been thinking a lot about the future lately, about how life can change so fast. I take a calculated pause. Have you ever thought about what it would be like if one of us wasn't here anymore? Richard turns to look at me, fully now, the movie forgotten. What do you mean? You know, like with that insurance policy. If something happened to me, you'd be financially secure. $5 million would be enough to start over anywhere, even abroad. His eyes narrow. Why are we talking about this now? I don't know. Maybe feeling sick at the airport just made me thoughtful about fragility. And I take a breath and add, have you ever thought about living outside the U.S., Barcelona? Maybe I hear it's beautiful. The mention of Barcelona, the city where he planned to buy a house with my insurance money, is like a direct hit. Richard's face visibly pales. His hands, once relaxed, are now tense fingers digging into his palms. Barcelona. Why Barcelona specifically? His voice sounds controlled, but I detect the underlying tremor. I don't know. It just seems like a good place to start over. I hold his gaze. To leave the past behind. A tense silence settles between us. Richard is studying me, as if trying to read my mind. Finally, he forces a smile. You're acting strange today, Allison. Maybe it's the medicine. He stands up abruptly. I'm going to get a glass of water. When he leaves the room, I take a deep breath, trying to control my pounding heart. His reactions are telling. The discomfort with the balcony talk, the shock at the mention of Barcelona. The microphone caught all of it, his altered breathing, his defensive tone. Richard comes back with 2 glasses of water. He hands one to me, watching me intently as I drink. Maybe we should go to sleep, he suggests. You have your doctor's appointment early tomorrow, right? Yes, I agree, grateful for the chance to end this tense conversation. I am really tired. In the bedroom, the hidden camera on the shelf silently films as we get ready for bed. Richard seems lost in thought, his movements mechanical as he changes and brushes his teeth. We lie down in bed, his back turned to me. I remain motionless, eyes open in the dark. Every sense is on high alert. After a few minutes, I hear his breathing slow down and become regular. Is he asleep? I can't be sure. I close my eyes, forcing myself to breathe evenly, faking sleep. Around midnight, I feel Richard move in the bed. I keep my eyes closed, but my muscles are tensed, ready to react. He gets up silently and leaves the room. I open my eyes, listening to his soft footsteps down the hall. Where is he going? A few minutes later, I hear his muffled voice coming from the office. He's making a call, probably to Isabella. Although I can't make out specific words, the urgent tone is unmistakable. He comes back about 20 minutes later, sliding carefully under the covers. I continue to fake sleep, my heart beating so hard I'm afraid he can hear it. For another 2 hours, I lie awake listening to his every move. When I finally fall asleep, it's a light, restless sleep, filled with nightmares of falling from high balconies, screaming as Richard and an unknown woman watch me, laughing. I wake up with a start at 5:30 a.m. Richard isn't in bed. I sit up quickly, alarmed, just as the bathroom door opens. He's already dressed. You're up early, I comment, trying to sound casual. I have a 7 a.m. meeting, he replies, fixing his tie. Unexpected stuff from the postponed trip. Will you be okay to go to the doctor's appointment alone? Of course. I nod, watching him closely. There's something different in his eyes, a cold determination that wasn't there yesterday. Perfect. He leans in to give me a quick kiss on the forehead. Call me after and tell me what the doctor said. After Richard leaves, I get up immediately. Something isn't right. A 7 a.m. meeting. He never mentioned it, and why the rush? I run to the office, checking if he took the documents I found earlier. The folder is still there, apparently untouched. But when I open it, I notice some papers are in a slightly different order. He had gone through the documents and tried to cover his tracks. My phone buzzes. A message from Jenna. Come now, urgent. I get dressed quickly, grab the small camera and microphone, and leave the apartment. In the elevator, I get another message, this time from an unknown number. Mrs. Allison, this is Michael. We intercepted a conversation. Your husband moved up the plans. Do not go back home. My blood runs cold. Did he find me out? Is he planning something for today? I take a taxi straight to Jenna's apartment. Michael opens the door, his expression grim. What happened? I ask, rushing in. We managed to access Richard's phone remotely last night, Michael explains, leading me to his laptop. A call was made at 12:47 a.m. to Isabella Acosta. He presses play on an audio file. She knows. I hear Richard's tense voice. I don't know how, but she knows. She mentioned the policy, Barcelona, even the house. It's not a coincidence. Are you sure? A female voice replies, presumably Isabella. Maybe it's just vague suspicions. I can't risk it, Richard snaps back. She was testing me today, asking questions about balconies and accidents. We have to move it up. How? We can't wait for the trip. It has to be today. I'll convince her to take some of those motion sickness pills. They're strong enough to disorient her. Then it's just a matter of getting her to the roof of the building. A domestic accident. It's less ideal than the hotel, but we have to adapt. My knees buckle. Jenna catches me, helping me to the sofa. My voice fails. He's going to try it. Today. Michael nods gravely. That's why you can't go back home. We're going to the police precinct. Right now. We have enough. What if they don't believe me? I ask, terrified. What if it's his word against mine? We have concrete evidence, Michael states, holding up an organized folder. The recording of this phone call, the policy documents, the search history from his computer, the purchase contract for the house in Barcelona, the recordings of your conversations where he reacts nervously. It's much more than just word against word. Jenna holds my hand. Allison, we need to go. Now. Richard knows you're on to him. He's desperate, which makes him extremely dangerous. I'm still processing the horror when my phone rings. Richard. I show the screen to Michael, who nods, signaling for me to answer, and put it on speaker. Hello. I answer, trying to sound normal. Allison, where are you? Richard's voice sounds falsely concerned. I went by Dr. Armstrong's office and he said you don't have an appointment scheduled. My heart hammers. He's tracking me. Oh, it was a mix-up. I improvise quickly. The appointment is at the hospital, not his private office. I'm in the waiting room now. Which hospital? He insists. I'll meet you there. Michael is shaking his head vigorously, signaling me to refuse. No, that's not necessary, I say. I'm already being seen. I should be done soon. Allison. His voice hardens. Where are you? Really? A tense silence. The mask is off. I'm with friends Richard. I finally reply, dropping the act. I know everything. About the policy, about Barcelona, about you and Isabella planning to push me off a balcony. It's over. Another silence, then a cold laugh I've never heard before. Do you really think you have proof? He asks, his voice dripping with contempt. All you have are paranoid suspicions. No one is going to believe you. I have more than you think. I reply, courage growing inside me, including your conversation with Isabella last night about drugging me and taking me to the roof. Today. That takes him by surprise. The silence that follows confirms everything. You don't know who you're messing with, he finally threatens. Come home now and we'll talk. We can still fix this. Michael signals for me to end the call. I'm going to the police, Richard. I say, my voice firm. It's over. I hang up the phone, my hands shaking violently. Let's go, Michael says, already grabbing his keys. He'll try to find you. It's not safe to stay here. We hurry out, Michael, constantly checking that we're not being followed. Jenna drives to the nearest police precinct while I hide in the back seat. At the station, we're met by a captain named Sarah who listens to my story with professional seriousness. Michael presents all the evidence we've gathered. This is extremely serious, Mrs. Allison, Captain Sarah says after reviewing the documents and listening to the recordings. I am issuing a restraining order against your husband immediately and opening an investigation for attempted murder. Is he really going to be arrested? I ask, still in disbelief. With this evidence, yes, she confirms. I'm dispatching a team to locate him and Ms. Isabella Acosta right now. While a police team goes out to arrest Richard, the captain advises me on the next steps. I'll need a safe place to stay since my apartment is no longer an option. I have a friend who can take me in, I say, thinking of Jessica. Perfect, the captain replies. I'll assign an officer to escort you there as a precaution. I call Jessica briefly, explaining the situation. She's in shock, but she doesn't hesitate to offer me refuge. Come immediately, she insists. I'll be waiting. While waiting for the officer to escort me, I get another call. Unknown number. I show it to the captain, who nods, suggesting I answer on speaker. Hello, Mrs. Allison. This is the doorman at your building. Sorry to bother you so, but something strange just happened. Your husband arrived, very agitated, went upstairs, and then came down with several suitcases. He looked like he was running. I thought I should let you know. I exchange alarmed looks with the captain, who immediately takes the phone. Sir, this is Captain Sarah. Do you know where Mr. Richard went? He asked for a taxi. Urgently. I heard him tell the driver to go to Midway International Airport. The captain thanks him and hangs up, immediately getting on her radio. We're going to intercept him at the airport. He's not going far. The next 3 hours are a blur of emotions and adrenaline. The captain receives confirmation that Richard was detained at the airport, trying to board a flight to Madrid with a fake passport. Isabella was arrested at her home while packing her own bags. When I finally arrive at Jessica's apartment, escorted by an officer, I burst into tears. Not of fear or sadness, but of relief. The nightmare is over. The man who swore to love me, but planned my death, will face justice. That night, lying in Jessica's guest room, I think about how a single message on a napkin changed my destiny. If it weren't for Jenna, for her courage in warning me, I would probably be dead in a few days. Life is made of decisive moments. Choices that seem small, but determine everything. That morning at the airport, when I chose to trust a stranger's warning instead of my husband's fake concern, I chose to live. 2 days later, I visit Jenna at her apartment. Michael is there too. I came to thank you, I say, hugging her tightly. You risked everything to save me. Jenna smiles, her eyes tearing up. When I found out what Richard and Isabella were planning, I couldn't stand by. I've seen stories like this end in tragedy before. How did you find out? I finally ask. The question that's been bothering me. Jenna and Michael exchange a look. He's the one who answers. Jenna is my sister, Michael reveals. After she ended things with Richard, she still suspected something was wrong. The pattern, it felt familiar. Familiar? I repeat, confused. Jenna takes a deep breath. Our mother died in a domestic accident when we were teenagers. Years later, we found out our father had planned the whole thing to collect the insurance money. He's still in prison. The revelation hits me like a punch. So when you realized what Richard was planning, I couldn't let it happen again, she finishes, especially since I felt partly responsible. If I hadn't gotten involved with a married man, I might never have discovered his plan. You made up for it by saving me, I state, squeezing her hand. And don't blame yourself. Richard is the only one responsible for his actions. A month passes. The investigation is concluded, and Richard and Isabella are formally charged with attempted murder and fraud. The evidence is overwhelming, and they both remain in jail without bail. My life is being rebuilt piece by piece. I start the divorce proceedings. I sell our apartment full of false memories, and I start looking for a new place to live. I go back to my job at the publishing house where my colleagues welcome me with support and understanding. The case gains notoriety in the media. Newspapers and TV shows tell the story of the killer husband and the wife who escaped. I turn down most interview requests, but I agree to participate in a special about domestic violence and abusive relationships. If my experience can help other women recognize the warning signs, it will be worth sharing. Jenna and I develop an unlikely friendship, born from the most extraordinary circumstances. She becomes a pillar of support during the legal process, understanding what I'm going through like no one else can. 6 months later, sitting at a cafe overlooking Lincoln Park, I open a letter that arrived this morning. It's from the court informing me that the trial date for Richard and Isabella has been set. In a few weeks, I will face them again, this time in a courtroom. The waitress comes over, smiling gently. "Another coffee, ma'am." I look up from the paper, noticing the beauty of the sunny afternoon, the sound of the fountains, the taste of the life that was almost stolen from me. "Yes, please," I reply, smiling back. "And a piece of cake. Are you celebrating?" she asks, curious. I carefully fold the letter and put it in my bag. "A second chance," I reply simply. "A second chance to live." As I watch the horizon where the sky meets the buildings in a perfect line, I feel a peace I haven't felt in a long time. Richard's betrayal shattered my trust, but not my spirit. The pain will fade with time. The scars will remain, but I am alive. Thanks to a napkin, a brave stranger, and my own refusal to be the perfect victim, life rarely follows the script we imagine. Sometimes it's interrupted by brutal twists that test our limits. What matters isn't the fall, but how we choose to get back up. And I have chosen to rise, stronger.